Like it or not, every game has their fair share of oddities, intentional, unintentional, and despite all that, Sonic the Fighters is no exception, so I'm going to be going over the oddities in this game, some obscure and some are well known. So, let's find out. Now, because I kind of want to get nitpicks out of the way, the main one I kind of want to talk about is the fact that the intro cutscene has RNG. Not the cutscene itself, but rather a certain part in it. Basically, if you've seen this intro for, longer than 5 seconds, you will see Sonic and Tails standing in front of a monitor of the Death Egg. Now, the flickering on the monitor has RNG and is completely random every single time you boot up into the cutscene. Very minuscule, but I have no idea why they even felt the need to include that. Okay, now that we got that useless thing out of the way, now it's time to talk about the walls of a stage. Now, getting a bit technical here, every single stage has an area value of 65. Any higher or lower numbers can give really weird results. Setting the value 1 lower, the walls get very close to each other. Very, very close to each other. And you might be thinking, oh, can I double wall jump? And no, you can only wall jump from one wall. Setting the value of the walls, or the arena size, 66 or higher, you can get the walls very stretched and very squished while being far away, and it can also affect certain effects on stages. For example, Aurora Icefield has the entire stage just completely made of ice, and the monitor inside the Death Egg's eye does not know how to react to these certain changes, or even sometimes the walls just completely disappear and there's no more barriers at all. And setting it lower than 64, you can make the arena so small that even jumping allows you to phase through the stage and you get extremely high jumps. There are 3 characters in this game that kind of rely on walls a little bit. Grabs, or just something else I'll bring up later. First 2 being Bark and Tails with their grabs. Bark Strike is Bark's balling throw. Doing it against a wall, it will put the player into a ball, throw him to a wall, and will deal a bunch of damage. However, if you remove the walls, the animation will play as normal, but no damage will happen because the game needs you to hit a wall in order for the damage to take effect. So meaning, if somehow there's no walls in the stage at all, that means that Bark's bowling grab, or one of his best moves, is completely useless because of it. As for Tails, airplane throw is one of his alternate grabs where he picks you up and throws you across, and normally hitting a wall lets you deal damage. However, this one actually has a failsafe for it. If there's no walls in the stage at all, the animation will keep on playing as normal, going a bit more farther than it normally does. But then the player will hit the floor and will deal damage as normal. And no, the damage values are not different at all, they're the exact same. There's still one character I haven't mentioned yet, mainly being Fang. Now, if you didn't know, Fang's main ability is shooting corks. That factor will be very important later. And when you remove the walls, something very bad happens to him. Now, there is a limit on how many corks can be inside of a match. What I mean by that is specifically the amount of corks being active and haven't despawned yet. That number being 30. So that means if Fang shoots 30 times and all the corks were unavoided with no walls, that means Fang cannot shoot any corks at all. Now, this also affects other things, including Bean's bombs, Amy's hammer throw, and also the weapon grab. So that means that basically almost every single one of Fang's moves is completely useless because of the fact that he wasted all of his corks. Yeah, I forgot to mention that this also affects Metal Sonic's laser too. Don't worry, this is fixed after the round is over. So once a round is over, you're able to use your corks again, or any other projectile. Now you may be wondering why Amy's hammer throw and Beam's bombs don't have the same issue, and also Metal Sonic. The reason why they act like this is because, for some reason, Fang's quirks are the only projectile in the entire game that aren't coded to despawn naturally over time, so meaning they have to be hit by something and able to despawn, which is kind of hilarious to me, because, you know, it can't be that hard to make a function for quirks for them to despawn after them traveling for a little while. To end things off, I'm going to end on one thing that I've talked about before. If you've seen my old video, One Rush Deadline, I briefly mentioned in that video and kinda dragged on this one certain moveset, specifically character movesets 25-0B and 45-0B. Now, you might be thinking, what the fuck do those numbers mean? Well, the first two indicate the moveset, and the other two indicate the character model. I've called this moveset the missing no of Sonic the Fighters for a few reasons. Mainly because of the fact hitting him caused some weird effects. He can't punch or kick, he can block, but he's either unfazed or just does a bunch of random crap when he gets hit. He activates hyper mode at the start of a match for some reason. He can affect elements of the UI, mainly the versus screen and the character select screen if you're lucky. And hitting him with certain moves gives very weird results, and while often he will just stand there doing nothing and will just fall down and lay down for a little bit. He can do certain moves from other characters, mainly wind-up punch, but he can also do other things like bark slam, a single skip kick but backwards. One jab from Sonic's main jab seems to be his first jab, or he will just walk backwards and forwards in a loop from it. Now, when you kill him, he will just stand still and will have stars around him, like the ones that appears when someone's laying down when they're dead. Now, what happens if you hit him during this? Well, it's basically the exact same, except the game developers added a little RNG mechanic behind this. At random, the game will crash if you hit him. There's also a few other things about him. He does not like projectiles at all, so hitting him with the majority of them, he'll just crash the game. Hitting him with any multi-hitting move, it will just crash the game again, and that's really about it. So I heard that sometimes hitting him with Foot Crush will sometimes freeze him, but that's a 50-50 chance no less, most of the time. He does have winning and losing animations. His winning animation is Bark's winning animation, and his losing animation is Legman's losing animation. So there's nothing else to really talk about this character besides the fact that he's just really weird in general. So, those are all the oddities in Sonic the Fighters that I could find. I do indeed have more, so if this video gets good enough or popular enough, I might consider doing a series on it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and comment, like, and subscribe.